Welcome to another episode of Brilliant Moves. This time I have games of Praggnanandhaa, and there is one common theme in all these positions. These games were played on chess.com as well as over the board events. The theme is the king. You can observe in all the five positions, Praggnanandhaa goes towards his opponent's king. In this position, he was black against Jonas Bull. This happened in the Polkart Challenge event online. Here his opponent played Queen e1. Sensing the drawback of this move, Praggnanandhaa went knight e5. Because this knight is now very much capable of going to f3 and attacking the queen on e1 as well as the rook on g1, forcing white to capture on f3. In the game after queen e1, knight e5, his opponent played queen f1, and after knight f3, bishop takes f3, e takes f3. Praggnanandhaa got a very good position. After a few moves, we see this position where his opponent picked up the pawn on f3. Of course, this was very well calculated by Praggnanandhaa that knight takes f3 is a mistake. Nevertheless, the position is still very much in favor of black. But after knight takes f3, it's winning instantly, and this is your time, your chance to make the move that Praggnanandhaa did in his game. Black to move, and in this position, notice that the white king is on h1, so this diagonal is vulnerable. Considering that, Praggnanandhaa first eliminates the defender with bishop takes c3, which is a good move, and after b takes c3, the idea is bishop e4 and the knight is lost. So in the game after bishop into c3, Praggnanandhaa's opponent played knight h4, but that was met by bishop e4 check, and now f3 is the only move. For a moment it looks like white is still hanging on, but black has a stellar rook takes f3, finishing off the game instantly, because Praggnanandhaa had seen this line that after knight takes f3 there is rook takes f3, but in this position if you play bishop takes f3 then there is rook g2, and of course even in this position black is winning with a move like bishop d4, but if black goes wrong with knight e3, then it is white who wins in this game. Take a moment to see how white can turn the tables. In this position, white has queen takes f3, and after rook takes f3, there is bishop e5 check. And if let's say bishop takes e5, there is rook g8 checkmate. So of course after bishop e5, let's say if you go queen g7, the game will go on. White will take bishop takes c3 and the game will go on. White is winning. It's a small line. This was given by Praggnanandhaa. And after knight takes f3, in the game he played rook takes f3 and then won the game with rook takes g3. This was the final blow. And the point is that if queen takes e4, there is a mate. If h takes g3, also there is knight e3, and this is winning. So the main point in this game, it was an intro to all the positions that I'm going to show you. I was just wanting to show you how Praggnanandhaa saw that the king is the main goal in every game, and he's going towards his opponent's king. In the next example, he attacked his opponent's queen with rook d3. This was against Ostrovsky Alexander, and this happened on 23rd Feb, on my birthday. In 2021, this happened in Tidal Tuesday. So after rook d3, in this position, his opponent played queen c2. Queen a2 was far better, but queen c2 was what he played. But now I'm giving you a chance. Take a moment to see what brilliant move did Praggnanandhaa make in this position. This is the only move for black to get winning chances. If you are considering knight takes b4, here's a warning. That's not the move, because after knight takes b4, white has queen b2. Alright, time up. I'm going to reveal the move now. The move here is queen f3, going towards the king again. The point is, with this move, black voluntarily hangs the rook on d3, but if you take the rook, the queen is now hanging. Thanks to that, there is knight takes f4. And queen g2 mate is threatened, queen is attacked, you can't capture because the queen hangs. So it's a tactical idea. That is why queen f3 is working. Now after, let's say queen c2, if you're considering knight before queen b2, and then if you're considering queen f3, there is no point because the knight is on b4. We need the knight on d5 to capture on f4. So here after queen b4, black has to take a draw with queen g4 and queen f3. So in this position, Praggnanandhaa played queen f3, and after his opponent played rook e1, he played h4. So he introduced this concept of h3 with queen g2 mate, and it was too much for white. White gave up the pawn with h3, but that just helped Praggnanandhaa to win quite easily after rook c1 and queen takes h3. Game number 3. In this position, Praggnanandhaa's opponent Bilal Belaken has just played queen d3. This happened in March. This was again from the title Tuesday. After queen d3, as the theme of this video is the king, so you're supposed to focus on the white king. And I think this move is pretty obvious. The move is knight g4, threatening a mate on h2. And if white goes, let's say g3, then black has a very good advantage after knight takes e3. Black can count on double bishop's advantage. So double bishop you can see here. So after knight g4, his opponent played bishop into g4. Now what this move did is that after h4, the rook on h8 became active just by being wherever it was. So rook on h8 is now in the game. And after g3, it's your chance again. These are moves that sometimes do not come naturally, so you tell your mind that you're supposed to go towards the king. That acts as a prompt in finding moves like these. In this position, Praggnanandhaa played a very good move. He brought his queen to e5. And I hope you are seeing the idea. The idea is to go with the queen to h5 so that you can capture on h2. And after queen e5, the fun is not over, because there comes a moment where I'm going to give you a chance to spot another brilliancy. After rook d1, he played queen h5, threatening mate on h2, and white went h4. And thanks to this rule of en passant, Praggnanandhaa played g takes h3, and after king h2, he threatened a mate with queen f3. So there is a mate on g2, so white defended it with rook g2. And Praggnanandhaa played f5 in this position. And my question to you is, why is he opening the position with his king in the center? What happens on e takes f5? That's your question. 3, 2 and 1. I hope you have figured out the solution. After e takes f5, which is a blunder, black wins instantly with queen g2, the queen sacrifice. And after rook takes g2, there is h takes g2, discovered check. And after king g1, there is a cute mate on h1, thanks to the pawn on g2 and the bishop on c6. In this position, Praggnanandhaa is white against David Alexandru, and this happened in May, and this also happened in a title Tuesday. As the theme goes, go for the king. Praggnanandhaa opens lines. In this position, the pawn on h6 acts as a hook, and you can climb over the g line and place all your hope on h6 pawn and open the line. That is what Praggnanandhaa does. He plays pawn to g4, which I call a good move. And notice that Praggnanandhaa is able to make a move like this because his king is safe and solid. There is no break that black has to disturb the white king. And the critical position in this game, the moment that I want to show you is after b5, rook c1, bishop d7, opens the lines with g5, and after g5, knight g5, rook d8, he plays bishop h7 check. Now here I have two questions. What happens on knight takes h7 and what happens on king f8? Spot the solutions for both. Find what you are going to do. Alright, I'm going ahead now. In the game, black played knight takes h7, which is not the best. King f8 was the best move, but in case of king f8, Praggnanandhaa had bishop g6. And the point is that if f takes g6, there is knight takes e6, and after king f7, knight d8, queen d8, white's attack is still very much active. White can play e4, next queen b3 or e5, and white has good chances. In the game after bishop h7, his opponent played knight takes h7, and then he went rook h7. And all those who are regularly solving puzzle rush combinations, you know that the threat is rook h8. There is an idea of rook h8. So In this position, his opponent played f6. And now I hope you see the solution. Don't just see rook h8, but see the follow-up. Because Praggnanandhaa doesn't go for material, he goes for the king. And I keep reminding this because it's very important to focus on the goal in such positions. And the solution is as follows. He plays rook h8 check, and after king h8 goes queen h5. Again a check, king g8 forced, queen f7 check, and king h8. He repeats once, and remember this is a blitz game, okay? So he's repeating to gain some time. And after king f8, queen h8, king e7, he picks up the pawn on g7. Until here everything is forced, and now comes knight f7 check. Of course it's lethal to walk into another discovered check, so the black king came forward. But in any case, if king e7, there is just knight takes d8 followed by queen b7, winning the game. After knight f7 check, his opponent played king d5. And here, if you are wondering what to do, I would say focus on the king. Praggnanandhaa doesn't go for knight takes d8. He goes for the king, and he plays e4 check. And this is a route to a checkmate, because after king d4, there is queen takes f6 check. And black can prolong the game with e5, but it's going to be a mate very soon with rook c3 and mate. In the game, after e4, king d4, queen takes f6, king d3, he just won with queen f3 followed by mate. His opponent resigned, in fact, after queen f6. This was another attacking game by Praggnanandhaa. And then the last example is from his game against Michael Krasenko. This happened in the FIDE World Cup, and Praggnanandhaa in fact managed to beat Krasenko in that particular match. Here Praggnanandhaa went for g4. This move is I think standard, because you have seen g4 before in one of the examples that I showed you. After hg4, knight h6, he got his rook to d6, and after knight takes g4, I want you to spot the best move for white. I know for sure that Praggnanandhaa does a lot of work on examples based on improving the position of his pieces, and is very strong at spotting nuances and improvements of his pieces. You can see that most of the pieces are very well placed, but the queen is slightly cornered. You don't really have time to bring your queen into action. So what Praggnanandhaa does is he brings this rook into action with king g2. And after king g2, knight f8, he gives a check. And after knight h7, he finishes off the game with a blow. And when you're solving positions like this, you should know that a blow is likely to arrive, and you must consider forcing moves. There are many ways to win in this position, but I like the way that Praggnanandhaa played in this game. Other winning moves are knight into e5 or knight eg5, all based on the ideas of going towards the opponent's king. He first played knight takes f6. The reason why so many moves work is because black's pieces are not really well coordinated. The pieces on the queen side are not having any specific purpose, and they're not able to help the black king. And in this position, after bishop f6, he plays a rook takes f6. The point is that if knight takes f6, there is bishop e5. The knight on f6 is pinned. Bishop f6 is a threat, so queen d8 has to come. And since the king and queen are in a vulnerable situation, Praggnanandhaa takes advantage of it and plays knight g5, not only threatening the fork but also threatening a rook takes h7. In this position, after bishop h3, he just took rook takes h3, and then after rook b7, piled up more pressure on the diagonal with queen c3, and his opponent resigned. Praggnanandhaa also mentioned that queen b2 was probably a nice touch, because the rook takes b2 is met by rook takes h7, a very deadly position. Now, in addition to these positions that I've covered here, there was also another brilliant game that he played against Adiban, which I covered in the other video that I did called 5 Brilliant Moves Made by Indians in 2021. I hope you liked these examples of Praggnanandhaa, and I'll be back with another video soon. Do let me know which move you liked of Praggnanandhaa, and if I missed anything, do let me know in the comments. I'll be back with another video soon. Until then, take care and bye bye.